Hi, Joel.
Hello, Valentina. How are you?
Good, I'm very good. So, welcome back to She. Last week, guys, we talked about anxious attachment. So, the overthinking, the waiting, the spiraling, the fear of losing someone, the need of for reassurance. And honestly, the response from women after that episode showed us how deeply these conversations are needed because so many people are working around calling themselves crazy or too emotional or too much when really their nervous system is just trying to protect them. And today we're going into the other side of the dynamic, avoidant attachment. The
Yes.
person who pulls away, the one who shuts down, the one who says they care but struggles with closeness, consistency, presence, vulnerability, or emotional safety. And what's interesting is that anxious and avoidant, they're often find each other, like literally they attract each other, and like some unconscious dance between craving love and fearing it at the same time. So this episode is not about blaming anyone, it's about understanding the pattern underneath this behavior, because once you understand the nervous system behind relationships, you stop taking everything so personally. We always tend to think, oh, it's never about us. So when you start seeing what's actually happening underneath the surface, it that just opens your eyes and you see from a completely different perspective. And so if you ever felt confused by someone who says they care and then they're gone, they disappear, or if you're someone who pulls away when things get too real, this conversation is probably going to hit home. So, Joelle, let's get into it.
Yeah, so let's get into it. So this is where both me and Valentina, both of us work together, and this is where both of our businesses really, really collaborate together because I teach people about the relationships and the part of the relationships, but how I'm going to go over some things now of really how the nervous system reset is so important. So last week we talked about anxious attachment. And just to do a brief overview, that anxious attachment is, where you're feeling that your nervous system does not feel regulated without being codependent on the other person. Okay. And so when a person will pull away, and I want to go into some of the stages of avoidant and how it happens for them. Because there's no rhyme or reason why it's a male or a female who's either anxious, avoidant, or fearful, which is a combination of both. And so some of the stages with avoidant is when you start to get close and you start to connect, the avoidant starts to feel trapped. So as the person is coming closer, the first stage is feeling trapped. And that's when they're starting to feel slightly suffocated. And it's their nervous system. So this is like the fight or flight type thing. So as that avoidant person um, starts to feel that way, naturally the anxious comes closer.
Yeah.
Okay. So then the second stage of avoidant really truly is they start to pull away. And this looks like maybe longer text between possibly, dates that spread out. Communication slows down a little bit because they're trying to regulate their nervous system. As this happens, the anxious person is getting really dysregulated, right? And coming closer. So the third stage for avoidant is shutdown, radio
Right.
silence. It's
Right.
shut down, radio silence. They are like in freaked out mode, like, suffocating, feeling like they need to escape. And the thing is, it's sad because both these people crave intimacy and love. It's just the way their childhood wounds showed up in their nervous system. Then, no, believe it or not, what happens is in stage 4, this is where arguments happen because they get angry. Because now they're running from something they truly want, like intimacy, and the anxious is coming forward, like want reassurance, don't want to feel abandoned. And then,
Validation, confirmation,
right, and then
safety.
safety. And then what happens is finally in 5, the loop happens. Now the avoidance feeling guilty and also feeling, why can't I feel close to somebody? Why does this constantly happen? And this is the back and forth thing. And where the nervous system training comes in and the pattern restructuring in Secure Blueprint and what you do in your embodiment program is really starting to understand and become to train yourself to feel instead of flee. Okay, because that's what happens. The avoidance not feeling and the anxious is over feeling. So the natural response is to flee. And then where the nervous system stuff comes in is to learn to be more, try to understand the fear based in relationships and try to start to work on the security of that and learn to co regulate. Because what that could look like, if you can get to a place of regulating your nervous system, is that if you're the avoidant and I'm the anxious, a secure person is not going to be dysregulated by your lack of communication or your lack of pulling away. You know, the goal is to sit and to be regulated and to be able to be in your nervous system no matter how this happens. And it takes time. And if people don't understand this, this is why it's so important. This is why this is truly why I specialize in this part and you do in your nervous system recalibration, is because otherwise we're going to keep recycling.
It's a loop, but and then you don't even know, not because we want to put people in boxes, but you don't even know, they're not aware of the category you're typically in. Because once you understand, um, anxious attachment over here,
I'm both
yeah, when
fearful,
you
anxious, and avoidant.
understand that, it's all a matter of observing from outside. And trust me, guys, when you do observe yourself from outside, you change the perspective, and through different lenses, you approach life in a completely different way. So you're aware of the dynamics, and you actually can then work on it, because then it goes back, as you said, to childhood trauma, the relationships with your mother, with your father, where you learn what love was, and where you learn those attachments like anxious and avoidant. So when you then you get triggered in the couple, in the relationship, and you have these two opposite, then they're gonna act when they argue and the anger comes out like the 5, 6, 4, 3, 7 years old, because that's what happens when the wound comes. Like you really
Correct.
behave like the child where everything started. On top of that, I would also add that I had situations where the avoidant shuts down, not because doesn't feel, but because maybe it feels, he or she feels too much, and he gets so overwhelmed that the nervous system doesn't know what to do. Like
No,
it gets like panic, like what am I doing?
right.
So that's the to regulate themselves, they need to go inward, while the anxious, because we're still talking about that, once you're regulated, you don't care about the category. So in the anxious side, in order to regulate and to get, the safety that you crave, you have to go outward, you have to reach the communication, you want the connection. So it's literally the opposite. It's crazy.
And if it continue, and and the way you learn, even after you've been through all this, I'm still testing myself out. Now that I'm opening up to dating again, I'm watching how my nervous system reacts to things. And sometimes my old self wants to come up, but because I've done this work, because I teach this work, I'm able to catch that. But it's still your nervous system still, it's like wants to protect you. by either keeping you safe or whatever the red flags are. But I really realize now, because like I said, just starting again to get into that dating and watching the difference of where I'm at now than where I was maybe 3 years ago is so different. The way the way you're secure, because it comes to a place of, okay, it's almost like thinking, I can't control how anyone else reacts. All I can do is to pause and regulate myself. Because if you're going to get anxious and you're going to wind up chasing that avoidant, um, it's it's literally a cartoon. It's like Tom and Jerry.
Yeah,
It's just gonna go
exactly.
because you are taking two people and this is any age, this can be 20 to 80. If you don't heal this,
No.
and why I'm so passionate about it is because you want to be able to have a successful relationship again. And the only way to heal that is, yes, regulate the nervous system and also come forth authentic. Come forth from the beginning about what your fears are. Come forth with, oh, I'm feeling overwhelmed. This is how I normally react to things. I usually flee. I really care about you, but this is my nervous system. I'm trying to regulate it. So this is why I do that. It doesn't mean you're going to understand this right away, but at least if you're honest with it, or when you push away, I need reassurance. I have some anxiety with this. I feel like maybe you're pulling from me. That's where the communication piece comes in, regardless of where your nervous system's at. It's actually coming forth authentic and honest from the very beginning. It's not like you got to come in and say, oh, I'm fucked up or I have these crazy relationships. I'm coming forth and speaking to you with, this was my past. I am really trying to heal this and have done the work and I'm self-aware, but I'm still working on the patterns.
So, first of all, in any relationship, communication is key. Let's be honest. But
Absolutely.
then, when you trust somebody enough, you can then be vulnerable enough to come as you are and to express yourself authentic, raw, real, and with your fears and your doubts. The only thing is that, and I've been there, so I really want to highlight this because the nervous system recalibration is just, oh my god, it's incredible. Like, it changes your life because you're in the relationship, and before you're not your anchor, so you think that, oh, maybe I've said it too hard, maybe I've done it, I've done this, I've done that, maybe I'm too much, maybe I'm too little, maybe I'm, like, I'm not enough, maybe I'm not worthy. Like, you doubt yourself, and
Yeah.
you seek validation, and that's when there's the down, the shut off from the other side, you're grasping for hair, because you're like, what happened? I need the hair, I need the oxygen to, no, okay, you come back to you. You don't
Correct.
stay in your mind. You don't overthink. You don't read all the history. You don't wait.
Right?
Wait
Decipher.
that the
Wait a minute. What
photograph.
does this mean? Right?
Right?
How many times did you do that?
Oh,
Right?
come
Though
on! Everybody, like, I listen. I speak with friends. We've done it. We've been there, done that. Come on, let's be
people
honest.
are putting their conversations in chat and getting them to try to decipher
Be
it.
honest.
Come
But when you
on.
instead you do the work daily to regulate your nervous system, you come back home to yourself, and you know that it's not about you. It's about their level of consciousness, their nervous system, the way they operate. And like, when you know and you're secure, because the safety comes from you approach the relationship in a completely different way. You don't sound desperate, you're not anxious, you're not asking questions, confirmations, validations, like, all the time. And you know what happens? First of all, peace of mind, like, finally you're back being you. You're not in your head, you're present,
Right.
and the energy changes. And when it shifts, magically, because energy, there's no space, no time, you can, when
Right.
it travels, the other person suddenly wakes up because he feels a difference. Now, of course, one more time, both have to work on their nervous system, their patterns, recalibrations, and they have to, I would honestly suggest to do it on their own, because yes, it's a couple thing, it's a relationship thing, but you're two individuals, and like your journey is not my journey. Once I
No.
know myself, I then put and pour into the relationship, and that's when the relationship can heal. On a different stage, at a different time, you can then heal as a couple. This is what I believe.
Yeah. Think about it too. Let's just talk about that for a minute. Energetically, what happens too is anything that's being chased runs.
Uh,
It comes off, and that anxious attachment comes off, and what does it does? It repels. And see, that's what happens when you get secure. You become magnetic, right? Because you're sitting, in your sovereignty, which takes, I mean, it's taken me years to get here. And it's a daily, it's even people that come in your life, it's still a daily, like a soul check. Where am I at? What behaviors am I still falling into? What traps are triggering me? So when we teach and going through the process, it's not a matter of just self awareness. Self awareness is information, which is great because but if you still don't heal that nervous system, you still don't heal the patterns, it continues.
yeah.
I do believe this as well. I do think energetically, as you continue to work through these levels of repatterning, nervous system healing, understanding who you are, working on your child's wounds, I think you start attracting different energetically as well because you're not necessarily attracting from that dysregulated nervous system, that maybe father or mother wound, right?
Totally. And then what happens is that the anxious woman, differently than the self aware woman, and as you said, it's information. What am I going to do with this information? Because if I don't act, it's just one more time information. You have to have clarity, and you have to, one step in front of the other, you move to like a resolution that you don't know yet, but you just trust and work on it, and clarity comes when it's progress over perfection. But like
Of course.
right, so the
Yeah.
difference between the two women is that once they understood and heal, and the next person comes, red flags, you read them immediately, so you're not there waiting and hoping that maybe you can save the person, it can change for you and all the things, but maybe because no. Okay,
No,
I see, I don't abandon myself anymore.
the self-abandonment.
Next.
Don't you think too, what I'm finding and what I'm teaching the clients as well is this isn't even something that really has to do with another person. This truly is about you. This is taking the time for isolation. This is taking the time to get to know who you are and also feeling safe, trusting your intuition, but also knowing that you're becoming a whole person, because the only way, even if you're self-aware, the only way I feel the best way to go into a healthy relationship, and this has taken me over 50 years to learn, is detachment and freedom. I think the best love is knowing that there's nothing in this world that's permanent, nothing. Things happen. People come in your life to help you evolve. Some people are lessons, some people are blessings, some people are to help you to the next level. Some relationships are karmic. The key is to get to a dharmic relationship. And I think the only way you can do that, and I'll clarify what a dharmic relationship is, it's when you're two evolved souls can grow together because you've both done the inner work. But knowing that with or without this person, I'm going to be okay. Because I don't know about you, because there's been relationships through my divorce to other things. I would have rather got hit by a semi truck than go through heartbreak. Like, please just run me over with a truck. I'd rather.
Always learn.
The
Because
heartbreak is
nobody,
horrific.
but that was before because
It
you
was
know
attachment. It was
it's
attachment.
nobody dies for love, for
Nobody, right.
nobody, nobody.
You can survive.
It's you. It's you. You're whole. You're not. When I was younger, I really believed because they sold me the other half of the apple. And so you have to find the other half because otherwise you're not whole. Now I say I'm the whole freaking fruit salad because
Right.
there's no such thing. The more you love yourself and you're truly whole, that's how manifest and attract the person who's also whole. Because otherwise, if you get another half, what do you get? A whole and a half? What do we do with that? No.
Repeat the cycle of the roller coaster again, right? Get me off this ride. This is
Yeah.
tripping me
And
out.
once you again meet someone, you're not healed yet. 'Cause,
Right.
I mean, we never are, but like in a sense, and you do two people like meet, they activate their wounds, and if you
Yes.
really work on it, you have the tools. You realize that actually that can be such a blessing and lesson, even if you go through pain. You're still grateful for what it brought you,
Yes.
but especially not just for the love and the passion and whatever it comes from the relationship, from what you're learning from yourself, about
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah.
And I think too, I mean, next week we'll talk about secure before we go on to the next subject. But I think that this is a part of everybody goes through this. Everybody goes through it. And the thing is like that chemistry that you feel, not that you shouldn't have passion, because you have to have passion, right? You need that chemistry, you need that passion. But sometimes I think when it's anxious or avoidant, it comes on like a really hot flame where I think sometimes we need to understand, and this is how we know the difference is when we are secure in ourselves and can trust how our body feels. Do I feel safe? Even in this conversation, is somebody texting you or saying something that's making you feel unregulated, triggered, not safe? That is a very important skill and part of the healing process to wind up becoming into that secure attachment, because then you can say right in the beginning, that's not feeling good for me. So I'm going to, instead of staying quiet because I'm anxious that you're going to not like what I say and I'm going to lose you, or running away because that's too much, I'm still going to speak my truth and then just see what happens.
Always. I teach it to my son. He's 6, and of course, they need to understand and grow up. But like the expressing our emotions and feelings, even if they're so scary and we're afraid to speak up because I don't know, like if I say it out loud, a monster will show up. No, please. I had to heal my throat chakra. I was blocked, and in relationships, you're scared of saying what you truly think because you're
Or
scared
want.
you're gonna scare the other person and that you're not you. You're not being you. You're faking it. So please, everybody listening, just pick
And
up.
we don't want to be faking anything, right?
No,
We're not faking
no,
anything.
no, no.
Be honest.
Yeah.
Be honest. Be
Exactly.
authentic.
But say anything that you really want to say because that's how you create and you build the foundations for unhealthy relationships.
And don't you think, honestly, when you can, if one partner, one person can come forth like that, it's actually showing the other person, this person's coming to me speaking the truth, going a little deeper than the shallow shit that you talk about. And maybe I'm okay too to come forth with, because otherwise people are in these relationships and you don't even know who the hell you're sleeping next to. I
Absolutely.
want to know who I'm sleeping next to. I want to know who you are. I don't, all this other stuff is just amazing, but I want to know who somebody is. I want that dharmic relationship. Otherwise, I don't want to throw myself into having a dysregulated nervous system. With that being said, though, we're always going to have triggers because it's how you um, bring them to your own awareness and how you recover from them. If people think, and I tell people too, even after going through the 8-week program and all the modules and all this stuff, this is inner transformational work that's a lifelong journey. If you think you're going to get some quick fix from my coaching course, you're not. I am the guide. You are the guide. We are helping you.
Yeah,
You have to
for
introduce,
yourself.
you need to know who you are, right? That's the key of everything. And once you know who you are, then you can start to actually become secure in yourself.
Absolutely. And let's actually, we said it last time, but I want to, like highlight it again. So many think that, oh, I was dating someone and then we broke up and then I'm meeting this other guy or this other woman and oh my God, like I'm not like, how is it possible that I meet? Oh, it's all about like it happens to me. Why to me? I'm so. How do you say in English when you're not lucky? I don't know. Unlucky,
Oh, you keep recycling. You're bad in love. You keep
right? Yes,
recycling the
yes.
same partner.
It's not them, it's you. It's you because you keep, of course, being like you without changing and healing and transforming. So you keep bringing yourself into another relationship. But many
Well,
people,
it's a mirror.
exactly, we are mirrors.
The
Absolutely.
world, the universe is a mirror. And people need to understand that what you're seeing on the outside or what you're thinking and your thoughts and what you're bringing that into your life. And I think when and everybody's not on a spiritual journey, but when you are, you can see how quickly you can bring things into your life.
Oh,
I mean, it's pretty crazy. We were joking about the bread, right?
yeah, exactly.
Then we walked in and what was there?
Yeah,
Bread.
absolutely. But
I
yes,
mean, this shit's a trip sometimes.
it is all about like being spiritual or not. It's all about working on you, and
Yeah.
then it shows in a like people react. People, it's so magical. Energy is unbelievable. People can feel your energy when you
Yeah.
walk into a room without you even saying a word.
Yeah.
So, you know,
We want to say too, and I don't know how we do it on time. How we do it on time?
30
We're,
minutes. Yep.
we're 30. I just want to say this too. You know, it is a journey. And I think a lot of people, and we're going to get into more than just relationships, but a lot of people don't come forward out of shame, out of fear, out of unworthiness. And we're going to get into that in different episodes and stuff. But I think, that's what also keeps people from coming forth with that authenticity in the relationship. Whether you're anxious or avoidant, it goes deeper than that. It goes to if I act and come forth with who I am, or I feel shame.
Yeah,
So, it's a lot
those are
deeper.
totally, absolutely. That those are two layers that we will touch
We'll get
on.
into that.
And then because you know what, this is just who I am, regardless being anxious or avoidant. But like, why do you have the need to impress? Like, just be you. It's just
Well, people will get to that when they get to that, security, right? So
yeah,
what do we say? When you dive into your divinity, that's where the magic
happens.
happens,
Yeah,
right? We have to dive in first to have that magic happens.
yeah,
And that just happens to be our two business names together. But, I think that anybody has questions. I put a post out earlier about any conversations. This is geared towards she, but this does also affect men. And we want men to also be understanding and part of because both of us have to do the inner work so we can have successful relationships again.
yes, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Joelle, Thank you so much. As always, this episode will drop on Friday, and we'll see you next week with. So, what are we going to talk about? The secure?
Next week, we're going to finish this out with the secure attachment. We're going to go into that just to so you can see what that could look like.
Yes, absolutely.
With nervous system work, with doing work, with working with both of us, how you can actually enter into that secure state.
Absolutely. And so you can watch this episode on YouTube, you can listen to Spotify, you can follow us on Instagram. You have all the notes and where to find us to listen, to watch, and to work deeper with us. You have all the information in the notes. So thank
So
you
we'll see you
so
next
much
week.
and see you next week. Bye.
Yes, bye.